Our story begins in a high school where we see some teenage boys playing volleyball. There is a group of girls watching the game from the side, cheering on their lovely senpais. Amongst the crowd of girls, we see our main character, Kai Serenuma, in the crowd, getting a little bit too excited from the gay fantasies she has on the senpais playing volleyball, like some kind of fandoms. In the middle of her fantasies, one of our senpais ran towards the crowd of girls to receive the ball and accidentally crashed into Kai, causing a whole earthquake with her fat ass. Kai then passes out while the blonde named Nanashima is asking her if she is fine or not. I mean, look at her. Does she look fine to you? She wakes up in the infirmary with her friend next to her. She is They are both something you call fujoshi, which are girl otakus that are addicted to boy romance. Furthermore, Kai is an expert when it comes to boy romance, as she can make gay fantasies out of boys she never met. Amid all the fantasy between them, a boy named Shinomiya opens the curtains and asks them to leave, as her fat ass is taking up all the space in the infirmary. They left, and on their way back to their classroom, they met a nice tall boy called Mitsumi, who asked if Kai was all right from the injury. Their conversation is boring, so I will be skipping that. Well, after that, Kai and enter their classroom, and Nanashima apologizes for crashing into her. While Kai asks if he had any injury, Nanashima says that he is all right, as her world-sized tummy shielded him from the collision. Damn, I cannot believe he doubled down on her like that. Everyone laughed at the joke, but Nanashima's friend, Igarashi, apologized for Nanashima's rudeness. However, Kai is not bothered about the joke, as she just sees them as Deku and Bakugo in her otaku eyes. I mean, even is speechless about her fantasies. God, this otaku is helpless. After school, Kai and walked home together, and they talked about how their favorite anime character, Shion, is going to take a big part in tonight's episode. I am sure nothing will happen to our popular and charming Shion, right? Well, he dies, and Kai went berserk like all the Gojo fans after a certain chapter of JJK. After Shion's death, is worried about her, as she has not been at school for a whole week. It turns out that Kai has locked herself inside her room and mourned over Shion's death for over a week, with her tears being the only form of nutrition. Her mom and older brother had enough of this, and his brother, Takuro, busted open her door FBI style and pulled her out of the bed. But what they did not expect is what came out of the covers. Kai reluctantly went to the toilet and washed her face while she saw a beautiful poster on the mirror. She tries to rub the mirror. Wait, what? Do not tell me that she turned into a beauty after all that. Kai is just as freaked out as I am. A week ago, she was still an average otaku, but now she is still an average otaku, but hot. Anyways, she finally goes to school the next day, and the second she steps foot on the campus, people start looking at her. The same situation happens when she enters the classroom, as no one has seen this beautiful girl before. Feeling very embarrassed, she ran towards and explained what happened in the past few days. Only recognized by her voice, shouted, "Is that you, Kai-chan?" After realizing who she really is, everybody is shocked and bombarded Kai with questions like, "Drop the skincare routine. How did you get so hot? What cup size are those?" Seeing how overwhelmed Kai looked, Igarashi pulls her away from the crowd and tells the class to chill out. Kai thanked him for helping, and Igarashi blushed. At the same time, Nanashima cannot believe what he is seeing, but then he starts praying for her downfall. Kai started crying and ran, which somehow made Nanashima blush. Pause. Now you would think she cried because she cannot handle the disrespect, but she is just crying since Nanashima looks like Shion. She crashed into Shinomiya in the hallway, and Shinomiya turns into the nicest human being alive after witnessing her beauty, taking her to the infirmary, although she is fine. In the infirmary, they meet Mitsumi. Kai has a conversation with Mitsumi, and right when Mitsumi refers to Kai by her name, Shinomiya is shocked and runs as he cannot comprehend the glow up. After school, Kai is preparing to leave, but she is stopped by Igarashi, who asked her out on a movie date. However, he is stopped by Nanashima, who also wanted to ask her out, who is stopped by Shinomiya and Mutsumi. Suddenly, All 4 guys wanted Kai's attention. Somehow, it ended with all 5 of them going on a movie date on Sunday. We then transitioned to Kai in Ah's room, where she dressed Kai up for the occasion, since Kai's old clothes are all oversized for her now. Kai asks if Ah's boyfriend knows that she is an otaku or not. Ah says no, and adamantly states that her date would be over if they find out that Kai's is a weeb. It is finally Sunday. All 4 boys have arrived incredibly early, waiting for Kai, who is hiding behind a corner, making fantasies with those fine men who are waiting for her. It did not take long until Igarashi spotted her, and everyone blushed over Kai. They enter the cinema with Kai being determined that she will not make a single fantasy. Yes, she folded immediately. After the movie, Kai uses the toilet, and when she comes out, Igarashi takes her arm and guides them to the photo booth secretly to have some alone time. But it did not take long for a bloodthirsty Nanashima to stop them. After the movie, they went to McDonald's and sang karaoke, which had anime-related products that almost made Kai slip up. Just when she thought the arduous day was over, she heard a loud and clear voice from a nearby 711 store clerk's. He yelled, "Shion limited merchandise are for sale just for today." Kai could not contain herself, and she ran straight into the store knowing damn well her reputation would be finished. She came out of the convenience store looking like God with a body pillow of Shion wrapped tightly in her arms. She then explained how important Shion is to her life, but this is the only response she got. She proceeded to do the walk of shame. However, Mutsumi stopped her, telling her that she could like whatever she wants, because he likes how her eyes shine brightly when she is doing stuff she likes. Seeing this, the rest of them went with the flow too. The night ended with Kai taking their reluctant asses into the store for more anime products. Good luck, you normies. After the splurge in the store, Kai gave each of them a Shion keychain. Yes, they definitely enjoyed the gift. The next day, Igarashi and Nanashima are having a chat. Nanashima is uncertain with trying to date her, as the otaku trait is a turnoff for him. They entered the gym and saw Kai dominating in sports, so much so that the football team invited her to help in an upcoming game. However, Kai would not know what she has gotten herself into, as she has not kicked a ball before. During lunch, Kai asks if Nanashima can help her out in training, but Nanashima refuses, as she could not learn how to kick a football in just a few days. Things turned south when Kai says the ball is her friend, and she will win if she never backs down and never gives up, which angered me and Nanashima. I know everyone acknowledges the fact that she is an otaku, but she does not have to say those corny anime lines in public. Nanashima shouted at her that it is not that easy to kick a football. Then he walked away. This made Kai even more ambitious, as she wanted to prove him wrong and win. During practice, Kai just could not keep up with the rest of the team. After school, Nanashima was walking back home when he saw Kai staying at school after practice. He also witnessed how terrible Kai is as a footballer. I mean, just look at this clip. Seeing how hopeless she is, Nanashima walked into the field and decided to help her out. It is finally time for the game. They are losing by 1 goal. When the team morale is down, Kai stepped up and asked the team to pass her the ball. She must be feeling like Isagi right now with that ego. They passed her the ball, and with her special shooting technique, she managed to score and win the game later. Laughing at aside, Nanashima has officially fallen in love with Kai, as she finds this girl remarkably interesting. The second week back at school, Kai is already greeted with a bunch of notes and books. It turns out that she has missed a lot of lessons when she was in solitary after Shion's death, and now she must pay the price and revise for a test that will determine if she needs extra lessons during the holiday. However, our angel Mutsumi comes and saves the day. He volunteered to help her revise for the test. The others joined in too, as they could not let Kai alone with Mutsumi. They start studying in the library. Everything is going well until Nanashima and Shinomiya start arguing about who is the smarter one, causing a lot of noise in the library. They booted out the library server. After that, they went to a coffee shop where the same experience happened again. Without a place to study, Igarashi suggested going to Kai's home. Everyone apart from Kai agreed, so it was set. Kai is now facing a huge problem. Her room is a mess, and all the boys will pull up in less than an hour. She immediately stacks all her boy romance manga in her closet and shuts it. Everyone arrived, and they all sat in Kai's room. When Kai left the room, Nanashima started looking around the place, and the moment he opened her covers, they just could not escape the presence of Shion. Takuro heard from his mom that Kai got company over, and they are all handsome boys, being the opposite of an overprotective brother. He ran into the room and exposed Kai for being an otaku, but of course, they all knew already. Unsatisfied, Takuro opened her closet, and all her sussy mangas started to pour out. Kai and Takuro then went into a fight, but our angel Mutsumi came in clutch again. He pushed Takuro out of the room and shut the door. Now, everything is fine, and they can finally revise. Eventually, Kai passed her test, and they can finally enjoy their lovely holiday together. Psych. That's the wrong idea. Kai spent the holiday with in a lot of VTuber concerts without the boys. After the holidays, everyone is back at school, and it is time to prepare for the cultural festival next month. When the class president asked what theme they should do, the boys instantly screamed, "Maid Cafe!" When most of the girls disagreed, Kai stood up and supported the idea with a lustful smile on her face. So I guess we all know what she wants, right? During lunch, Kai is so excited for the festival that she volunteers to prepare the costume for Igarashi and Nanashima. Mutsumi will be helping the history department. So now everyone's attention is on Shinomiya, who is reluctant to reveal what he will be doing for the festival. Under pressure, he reveals that his class is going to perform a play, and he would play the role of a princess. This triggers Kai's Fujoshi instincts, as she wants to make the most of this opportunity to create the perfect princess. After a little help with making the outfits, by little I mean a lot. It is the day before the festival. All of them are leaving school together, when suddenly Igarashi stopped and stated that he is done with this type of relationship, as he wants to have more alone time with Kai. Everyone had an epiphany and agreed, but none of them are willing to give alone time for each other. So they came up with a solution where they will be having separate dates with Kai at different time slots, while completely ignoring Kai's opinion. It is finally time for the cultural festival. First, we have Nanashima going on a date with Kai. The date started being bad as their costumes got too much attention. However, Nanashima saved them by bringing them to a photo booth to take pictures together. At this moment, Nanashima tried to lean in for a kiss, but it was denied by Mutsumi, as it is time for his date with Kai. Mutsumi takes Kai to rest and have a break from the day. While he goes to buy food for them, Mutsumi feeds her with his balls, which makes Kai blush. During Igarashi's date, he brings Kai to watch Shinomiya play. This cheeky boy held Kai's hand like it was nothing, but this is enough to make an otaku's mind overflow. Shinomiya brought Kai to a haunted house for his date in order to prove his masculinity in front of Kai. But everything went the opposite way, until in one of the scares, they tripped and he fell onto Kai's milkers. Embarrassed by this, Kai ran off at a faster pace than Sonic, following Shinomiya coming out of the haunted house blessed. Kai ran to the stairs where she met She complained to how stressful the individual dates were. Sighed and left to buy her some drinks. Just as she left, some delinquents from another school tried to approach Kai and riz her up. But Kai was not feeling it at all, as she gave him the hardest uppercut. The delinquents wanted revenge and grabbed her arm. Luckily, Igarashi popped out of nowhere and pushed one of the delinquents onto the ground. Later on, all the boys had showed up and they got straight to fighting. Kai tried to stop the fight, but no one listened to her again. Kai had enough and shouted at them, making them stop with her conqueror's haki. We then transitioned to Kai crying in front of his dates, complaining how stressful and pushy the dates were, as they only thought about how they could develop a closer relationship faster without thinking about how she feels. They all apologized and promised to take things slow. After this, they went back to the festival and had fun together. When things are looking peaceful and normal, a new challenge has approached. Next day at lunch, Nanashima is asking what everyone will do for Christmas. Kai mentions that she is going to the Komiket, which is Japan's largest doujinshi exhibition sale. Nanashima argues that it is a waste of time, but Kai insists on attending Komiket, so they ended up going together. On that day, they arrived as soon as 6 o'clock in the morning. Kai, being the only one excited, she gave all 4 of them a guide to the Komiket, so they could be prepared. They have arrived, and the place is already packed with people. Nanashima wanted to leave, as he couldn't stand the smell from all the weebs waiting in line. It was also very cold, so Kai gave them all hot pockets to warm them up. They ended up waiting in line for an hour and another hour when the doors opened, and another hour before they could enter. It was 11 in the morning, and they had just entered the venue. Now they need to split up and get all the books in Kai's shopping list. They are all overwhelmed and low-key disgusted by all the boy romance books Kai wants. Igarashi and Nanashima went as a pair. During their purchase, people kept on thinking of them as a couple with all the sussy purchases they are having. The same situation happens with Shinomiya and Mutsumi. Kai finished buying her doujinshis first, and as she waited, a creepy photographer approached Kai and started harassing Kai, asking her to strike a pose for him. In the middle of this, a man threw a handkerchief, covering the photographer's camera. The handkerchief came from a boy wearing a suit. He managed to gather the crowd's attention on the situation, making the creepy photographer walk away. After this, the boy left after he gave a kiss on Kai's hand, and the boys finally arrived. They're ecstatic to leave Komiket and have a party afterwards, but little do they know the ride home is so long. They all fainted during the after-party. Back at school, Kai and I are walking to class, when I asks if she met anyone cool at Komiket. The first person that comes to mind is the boy in the suit, but she forgot to take any picture with him. Suddenly, a familiar voice came from the back. It was the person Kai was thinking about. Her name is Nishima, and she turns out to be a girl this whole time. During lunch, Kai introduced Nishima to the boys, and she gathered a big crowd because Nishina turns out to be very popular with the whole school. Nishina then invited Kai to her house and talked about Cheyenne together. Seeing this, the boys invited themselves too, as they cannot let Kai go by herself. Apparently, Nishina is very rich as she lives in a mansion with maids. They are all shocked looking at this, with some of them almost dying from the riches. Nishina shows everyone her room of figure collection. This is where Mutsumi folds, as he is overwhelmed by the historical palace collections she has. Then, when Nishina takes them to her dressing room, she compliments Shinomiya's good looks, making Shinomiya fold as well. Lastly, Nishina took them to her home library, where she stores all the manga she drew in the past. Yes, you heard me. She is a mangaka as well. This made Kai very impressed and completely falling for her. Before they leave, Nishina has a request, which is to take photographs of the boys. The boys are confused, but Kai catches her drift. It turns out Nishina is a fujoshi as well, and they are about to fulfill their suspicious desires with the boys. During the photo shoot, the boys are very sturdy, as they have not done this before. This is when Kai told Nishina to show them how it's done with her. First, she lays Nishina on her lap and leans in for a kiss, but Kai is too embarrassed to actually kiss her. Seeing this, Nishina gently pushed Kai's head towards her, and they kissed. Nanashima immediately pulled Kai away from her, but Kai just sat there, shell-shocked. Frustrated by this, Igarashi sees Nishina as a huge problem. The next day, Kai is looking at fan-made ships of Cheyenne, to which the ship reminded her of what happened with Nishina. While scrolling through Cheyenne's fan page, she came across this competition online. The challenge would need the contestants to make chocolates of characters from the anime Cheyenne is from, and the best one would get a signed illustration by the character designer. Suddenly, Nishina popped out of nowhere and tried to approach Kai, but she was stopped by Nanashima, as he doesn't seem to like Nishina at all. Nishina ignored him and asked Kai if she was joining the competition, and Nishina asked if they could do it together, to which Kai pushed Nanashima away. Kai accepted her request, and the boys tagged along as well. At Nishina's house, Kai showed the boys how she will be making her chocolate. However, looking at what seems to be a normal-looking Shion, Kai destroyed the chocolate as she would only allow perfection when it comes to Shion. At this moment, Nishina suggested to Kai to make the chocolate in 3D, which is very hard, but Nishina promised that she will guide her to success. After a while, when most of the boys are having fun making chocolates, Kai is depressed as she fails to make a proper-looking 3D Shion. After a few more tries, Nishina made a fabulous Shion, as told Kai to use hers for the competition. We are transitioned to a frustrated Kai chilling at home, not sure if she should submit the beautiful one or the malformed one. She ended up submitting the malformed one, as that chocolate contains all the sweat and tears Kai has put into making it. She then gave the boys and Nishina some chocolates for Valentine's Day. The next day, Igarashi is shocked. He cannot believe what is in front of him. The obese Kai has returned. It turns out that she had eaten all the chocolates leftovers from the Shion competition, as she thought it would be a waste to throw them away. Looking at this, Nanashima and Igarashi are both in disbelief. Nanashima fainted from the gravitational force of her weight, so Kai immediately ran out of the classroom to get medical help, but she crashed into Shinomiya, making him faint as well. A few hours later in the infirmary, Shinomiya is rolled up in his bed. Hoping that this is just a dream, Nanashima is next to him, and he had enough of this oversized Kai, so he decided to team up with Shinomiya and get the slim Kai back. When they went back to the classroom, they saw Nishina feeding tons of snacks to Kai and told her to stop, but Nishina loves this side of Kai as she is so round and cute. However, Nanashima cannot let this go on and kindly threatened Kai to lose some weight. Next day in the morning, Nanashima already had Kai running laps in the field. The same process is repeated until the end of the day. Next day, Kai looked like she got all her life forcey suck it out of her. For her workout session today, Shinomiya will be coaching them how to dance like J-pop fans in hopes of making Kai more motivated to exercise. His plan did work out, but it backfired as Kai got too hyped during the training session and broke her back. She dozed off, and everyone escorted her to the infirmary. Seeing how defeated Kai looked, Nishina asked if they could put a stop to this weight loss routine. When Nanashima asked why, she said that this workout routine is too hardcore, and they are pushing her too hard. The tension between Nanashima and Nishina is high. Luckily, Mutsumi called them down and said that whether Kai wants to work out or not, it's her decision, and they should respect whatever the outcome is. Afterwards, Nishina has become illegally close to Kai, as she wants to help Kai recover from the injury as quickly as possible. During recess, when Kai thinks Nishina would show up again, Igarashi grabbed her hand and brought them to the rooftop as he knew Nishina's gonna show up sooner or later. Kai thanked him, and everything the boys had done to help her lose weight because of her carelessness with the chocolates. As appreciation, Kai really wants to lose this weight and make everyone happy again. At this moment, Igarashi is touched by her words and once again found a reason why Kai is so attractive, not just because of her beauty, but also the tenacity and perseverance. Back in the classroom, he told Nanashima that he had fallen in love all over again, even now with that fat body. Nanashima thought he was tripping too hard and ran away. One more week of exercises later, Kai is all slim again, and the boys are all tired from motivating Kai with suspicious incentives during her workout. However, there is a bonus for Kai that none of the boys knew. The bonus is that if Kai returned to her slim body, Igarashi and Nanashima had to kiss in front of her. I guess you all know what happened next. Today, Kai is walking to school, but she is acting strange as she ignored the boys when they greeted him. During lunchtime, she finally snapped back to reality with help from Mutsumi. It turns out that she is daydreaming all day because of the new anime she picked up, a character called Akane, and she fell for him the moment she saw him. By the looks of it, Nishina likes the series as well, and they showed the boys the trailer of the anime. The trailer, of course, contains a lot of sussy stuff, like how Akane transformed into armor after touching the main character, Lloyd's chest. It's just some weird fujoshi stuff. In the heat of the fantasies between Akane and Lloyd, we ran into a problem. When Kai said Akane and Lloyd, Nishina said Lloyd and Akane. They kept on repeating the same sentence, but with reverse order. This little argument turned into a rivalry between Nishina and Kai, as they would ignore each other at school. I got curious one day on the fall-off between Kai and Nishina, so she asked Igarashi and Nanashima of what happened. They told her, and I is shocked, as she explains what happening between Kai and Nishina is called a reverse ship conflict. Essentially, the first person in the order would be the more dominant one in the relationship, and the second person in the order would be the submissive one in the relationship. So this is what causing conflict between them. This rivalry kept on going until one day the boys decided to squash the beef between Kai and Nishina. The plan is as follows. Mutsumi would ask Kai out to an anime shop. Without knowing, Igarashi asked Nishina out to the same shop as well. As they arrive at the shop and both of them meet faces, they are already ready to leave. They are both forced to go hang out together with the boys. They ended up in a cafe where the boys would try to squash their beef. But Shinomiya just can't take a hint and wouldn't stop bringing up the reverse shipping thing. This only intensified the rivalry. And as the argument goes on, which ended up with Nishina declaring a competition with Kai, she said that they will both post their fan fiction of their ships on the same site, and whoever got the most upvotes win. Kai accepted the challenge, and they went off to prepare. The next week, Shinomiya realized how tired Kai is from writing and thought that it was not fair for Kai at all, so he went to confront Nishina. However, he got absolutely humiliated by Nishina during the confrontation, which he is later on laughed at by the rest of the boys. Anyways, it is finally the time of the competition. They both posted their fanfiction, and both of their posts are very popular within the fandom. Next day, it was the day to determine who had a better ship. When they checked their posts, Kai lost, and Nishina won. Kai fell onto the floor while Nishina got a bit too arrogant and doubled down on her, which made her cry and ran away. After this, Igarashi asked if Nishina is satisfied or not. He said that Nishina once told him that she loves beautiful things, but he states that making the girl she likes cry is not beautiful at all. When Nishina is leaving after school, she looks at the school gate and remembers how everyone is judging her wealth and making assumptions about her. It was Kai who appeared out of nowhere and bodied those people, literally. She also remembers when Kai bought his whole art collection while she was still a new artist. She then received a message from Igarashi of where Kai is at, and Nishina ran there without a single thought. As she arrived, she apologized, and they both appreciated both of their fan fiction and reminded themselves what got them so into anime.
So, after all the altercations, all the debates, and all the events, the candidates for Kai's boyfriend are set. Just like other romance anime, we get a theme park episode, a pilgrim episode, and of course the legendary beach episode. But unlike other beach episodes from other anime, this time we have a little problem. That day, Nishina invited them all to her holiday home, which is next to a beach. As they are getting prepared for the beach, we see Shinomiya being insecure with his body. All the boys had brilliant physique except him, making him feel a bit sad, but he stayed positive throughout the morning. At the beach, Nanashima and Igarashi both had a great display of surfing skills, impressing all the girls at the beach. But this triggered Shinomiya, and he rushed into the sea with a surfing board with him as well, trying to assert his masculinity. Even though he failed miserably, he crash-landed on Kai's milk bazookas in one of his attempts. Nanashima is furious and grabs him, demanding an apology to Kai from him. He ended up apologizing throughout lunch. However, right after the apology, the group of delinquents at the next table catcalls Kai and Nishina, which is the worst thing they could have done, as they are then threatened by the boys to stay out of their way. After the confrontation, Nishina thanks the boys for punishing those delinquents. This interaction shattered Shinomiya's confidence. He feels incompetent for not being able to protect Kai, as even Nishina has taken part in protecting her, leaving him alone. This really bothered him for the rest of the day. When they were all making dinner together, Shinomiya saw a snake slithering near Kai, so he moved Kai away but dropped all the food on the floor in the process. The boys started moaning over the food on the floor, making Shinomiya run away in embarrassment. After a while, everyone was worried about him, so they started searching for him, but everyone apart from Kai had a shallow fall from a bridge, so Kai went on searching for Shinomiya on her own. She found Shinomiya tangled up in vines, because he fell and rolled into vines when running. It got dark, so Kai and Shinomiya ran into an abandoned hotel to take shelter. Inside the hotel, they are greeted with the same delinquents as earlier. It turns out that the abandoned hotel is their hideout. Their leader pushed Shinomiya away and proceeded to grab Kai. But this made Shinomiya snapped, and he direct shot the leader in the nuts. Then he immediately grabbed Kai's hand and ran towards the exit. The delinquents followed, but what was waiting for them outside was the boys, as they had found their way to the hotel. After beating the delinquents up, they walked home together. Shinomiya thanked everybody and promised that he'll do his best and improve to protect Kai. Now, back to the main story. A new teacher has arrived, and he will be teaching Kai's class. The teacher is called Kazuma. He is very handsome, as he already had a lot of girl students falling for him on his first day. During lunch, Mutsumi reveals that Kazuma is his older brother. Suddenly, Kazuma appeared behind him, and he turned out to be pretty kind and sussy. But something seems off when he approaches Kai, as Mutsumi shouted "stop" at him, which is rare for Mutsumi to lose his cool. However, Kazuma played it off cool and left. Next day, Kai is shopping in an anime shop. She comes across Kazuma when she leaves, and Kazuma invites her for lunch. In the restaurant, Kazuma learns what Kai found Mutsumi attractive, and the fact that Kai is a horrible fujoshi. Back at school, when Kai was busy tidying up the history club room, Kazuma dropped by to give her a Shion figurine he has, since he knows that Kai is an otaku. This limited edition figurine made Kai go crazy, as she was holding the figurine. The box above her fell from the top of a shelf. Kazuma immediately pulled her towards him to avoid the impact, but they ended up in a weird and close position. Kazuma lifted her chin and tried to riz her up. At this moment, Mutsumi interfered and hit him with a book. Kai immediately hid behind Mutsumi, as she was not feeling his riz. Then the rest of the boys arrived, so Kazuma left. Seeing how big of an opponent Kazuma is, the boys decided to team up and protect Kai from him. However, Kazuma is prepared for them. All the boys fall one by one as they confront Kazuma. The whole gang has fallen, leaving Mutsumi the only one to challenge and make Kazuma leave Kai alone. But what they did not expect is that Kazuma took the initiative and challenged Mutsumi himself. He challenged Mutsumi in a game of Guard the Castle, which essentially is a mind game about castle and invasions. If Mutsumi wins, Kazuma would leave Kai alone, but he will continue to pursue Kai if he wins. Kai is so excited to see the match. She finds Mutsumi and tells him how much she loves the game. But Mutsumi seems nervous. He is anxious, as he has never won a game before, because of his honest and straightforward way of playing the game. Kai cheers him up, and this reminds Mutsumi why he needs to win, to protect Kai from Kazuma. The game had begun. Mutsumi was losing at first. When Kazuma thought he could win and was ready for the final blow, Mutsumi caught him lacking and triggered his trap guard. Kazuma was shocked, as he had never seen Mutsumi use a deceiving move before, but this time Mutsumi is going all out, as he actually cares about the outcome now. Mutsumi won the match. When Kai approached Mutsumi to congratulate him, Mutsumi asked Kai to be his girlfriend, making the rest of the boys all shocked, as he is the first one to do so. When Kai asks Mutsumi to repeat himself, as she didn't quite catch that. The boys all pull Mutsumi away. The boys ask him what he was doing, but Mutsumi just simply replied that he had just fallen in love hours ago, and this is the perfect time to confess his feelings. It turns out that Mutsumi had treated them as friends this whole time, and just realized that the boys were pursuing Kai as well. Igarashi tells him to not confess, as this would give him a head start, but Mutsumi argues why he cannot confess to the girls she likes and tells the rest of the boys to confess as well if they are in love with Kai. So, they all summoned Kai to the rooftop the next day, and all confessed their feelings towards Kai. Kai is puzzled and rushes off to meet Ai, who she hopes can help her decide. Ai suggests Kai to go on a date with the boys individually and see who she likes more to be her boyfriend. So, she tells exactly what Ai has suggested to the boys and runs off again. Her first date is with Igarashi. He brought Kai to an aquarium. During that date, Kai appreciates Igarashi for being the most sensible one in the group. But sometimes he is quite cringe with his Riz game. Next date is with Nanashima. He took Kai to a theme park. During their date, a kid got lost and they both entertained the kid and found her parents. This experience made Kai acknowledge Nanashima's humor, but also realizes his recklessness. She went on a date with Shinomiya the next day, and they went to a zoo together. Shinomiya got bitten by a llama during the date, which made Kai laugh profusely. Kai realizes Shinomiya's clumsiness and would really love to have him as a younger brother. Poor Shinomiya got friend-zoned again despite all his attempts to be manly. Next day, Nishina took her to Okinawa by her private jet and read manga and watched anime together in her own beach restaurant. They have the same corrupted interests, but she might be elegant for her. Finally, Mutsumi took her out to an ancient temple. Kai really likes how kind he is, but sometimes he will be a bit too passive. The next day, she was watching the new episode of the anime Shion is From while figuring out which boy she likes more. But suddenly she saw something miraculous on the TV screen. Next day, everyone is nervous and hopes they are the one chosen to be her girlfriend. Kai arrives and she says that she found the person special to her. Everyone is ready to hear the name of the chosen one. At the end, she chooses Shion again, because he was just revived in yesterday's episode, and this has triggered Kai's Fujoshi's instincts once again. What an anticlimactic ending, but I don't know why I kind of expected this to happen.